Hello and welcome back to my channel. So today we are doing my first sewing tutorial and we're going to take this ugly Cosby sweater and we are going to do a Washington Ave inspo look. If you don't know who Washington Ave is, boom, this is them. They make some really dope vintage reworked items and this is what I created. So I am doing a little bit of a kind of like a copy, a dupe, or whatever you want to call it, because I love their clothes. So I am going to be doing something somewhat similar. If you could tell in theirs, they had straps and mine's does not, but we're going to work with it. So I'm going to actually measure down to how far I want, or how long I should say, I want my cardigan to be. I do want to still make sure that my bandeau top is long enough because I do not want to have anything popping out. So here I am measuring it up. For whatever reason, I don't know what was going on. I will say I do record early in the morning because that's the only time I really have to record. When I say early, I'm talking about like I wake up at 4:30 in the morning just to get my recordings done. And so I was supposed to actually mark this a line across, but I didn't do that. So I am just taking my scissors super slow across the sweater because I want to make sure that it is nice and accurate. Because again, I don't know what I was thinking, but I did not do the chalk and like drag it across so I can make a nice line. It is better to have a ruler instead of a measuring tape because as you can see, that was moving all over the place. Take that bandeau part that you have there, which is the bottom half, and move it to the side. So what we're gonna do now is just kind of make sure your lines and your edges are clean. As you can see, the end of mine had a little piece that was off, and I didn't want it to be nice and smooth. So we're gonna look at the center part. My sweater was really easy to work with because the center diamond was basically right perfectly in the middle. So I could just go right down the middle of that diamond. And hunty, make sure make sure you're not cutting both sides because that's what I almost did. And then I would have ruined the entire project. So yeah, just going straight down the middle, cutting really slow, just for all my beginners because I'm still a beginner. Just make sure you're going really slow because that kind of helps you get better at cutting and being more accurate. Boom. So we are done. That's the opening part of our, I'm going to call it a cardigan, a cropped cardigan. Yeah, that's what we're going to call this. And I am going to, at the end, be doing a little bit of sewing on the edges so that it doesn't frail and unravel. And so it has a nice little neat look. So we're going to put that bad boy to the side. Alrighty, we're going to get our elastic. This is from Hobby Lobby. Make sure you always double check around on places that are having really good sales. I always check like Hobby Lobby, Joann's. You know, you can go on Amazon and stuff too, but sometimes you can find a really good steal at Hobby Lobby. So just make sure that you keep an eye out for really good deals for any of your extra sewing material, fabric, you name it. Look for it. See if there's deals, see if there's coupons. Honey, join the rewards group. If you're trying to find a hobby, try to find the easiest and cheapest route to get some of your material because sometimes this stuff adds up. You know how people are like, oh, sometimes it's so cheap to just like make your own items. Sometimes when you're buying the stuff to make your own items, you might as well should have bought your own clothes from like Pretty Little Thing or something. I don't know. Anyway, the point is we're just using our creativity though. It took me a minute to measure, so I did measure the elastic for my bandeau top. I had on a really big sweater, so it would be easier to have on something else, just a little bit tighter. But any hoot, I am going to make the casing for my elastic. So I am going to make a hem that is big enough for my elastic to fit in. Just make sure that you are keeping an opening for your elastic to go through. So you want to make sure there's like a little hole for the opening. Um, for the opening, a little hole for the elastic, so that at the end you will be closing that up, and you'll be good to go. So I'm just gonna kind of speed through this. You already know the deal. You need to sew, back stitch, and go back over that again. While you're looking at this beautiful hem, um I actually just picked up a sewing machine this year, and I've just been really trying to practice and look at different things that I like and that I want to try to make on my own. So Washington Ave, they do a lot of reworked vintage clothing. So if you check them out on Instagram, they are such a big inspiration. Like, they put jeans with leather, like literally jeans and leather, or jeans and mud cloth, leather and mud cloth. Like, they mix and blend different fabrics. They do a lot of two-piece sets, from t-shirts, from blazers. It's super dope. Whoever they seamstress is, honey, she or he is incredible, because they make themselves look nice and neat. So I'm trying to get to that level. But anywho, I just wanted to put that out there, that they are literally like a big inspiration in the reworked vintage, community. Especially being that it is two black women, okay, who are doing their thing, and they are like changing the fashion game in vintage clothing, for real, for real. So yeah, I'm just gonna keep on going, and boom, we are going to get to the elastic. So make sure you have a pretty decent size safety pin, because if you have something that's too small, then you're gonna be struggling. So make sure you have like the giant ones, and then I am going to put that through the hole that I talked about, that we are leaving open with your casing. If I can get it together, sis. Okay, there is your hole, and then we're going to put that elastic through. And what I also sometimes like to do, depending on the fabric, I will actually put a safety pin at the end of the elastic and safety pin it to the end of the sweater. Does that make sense? So like, I'll put it on the other end of the casing, because I do not want my elastic to go through and then I have to restart everything all over again, because that is very annoying. So I am going through, going through, going through. And yes, I am just whacking my hand at the camera. So excuse me for that. And I'm just really just pulling it, and oh, yep, hand all in the camera. Pulling it and pulling it. You're gonna see that I am going to be pulling it really tight, because I want the bandeau top to have that scrunchy effect all around. I don't want it to be anywhere on the bandeau top loose. I don't want anything to show like it just not having any type of pull. So I am making sure that I stretch it out, I adjust, and I keep pulling and adjusting until it gets to where I would like for it to be. Boom. And we keep on pulling till it gets to that point. And there we are. So I'm actually going to go ahead and adjust it a little bit and cut where I need to sew the elastic together. Make sure you put that extra elastic to the side. You never know, you might need it for something else. And so what I'm going to do is a zigzag stitch across that elastic. I think you have heard this before, but just in case if you're new, Usually with anything that's stretchy, you want to make sure you're doing like a zigzag stitch or some type of zigzag, zag, zig. You want to make sure that it's good and stretchy, and because if you use a straight stitch, it might be a little bit hard to stretch. If you have a serger, that's actually easier to use. I will graduate to a serger one day, but honey, I got to get the basics down with this little starter machine before I do anything extreme like getting a serger and getting um a another Singer sewing machine. So yeah, we're gonna cut that excess off right there. Super simple. This doesn't have to be neat, but it's good to practice being a little bit neat. As you can see, mine was a little bit crooked, but it's all good. Nobody's gonna see it. It's gonna be in that casing. And this is where we're going to adjust back to the straight stitch, and we are going to go ahead and close that hole up. I try to make sure everything is good to go before I start sewing again. So yeah, I'm going to go across that and make sure that it is nice and closed. I tried my best to find the original hem and so I can have it lined up, but I won't lie, it was kind of hard to see with all that fabric everywhere. The yarn, is that what that is? Yarn? I don't know if that's what they use for sweaters. Is it yarn? Wool? Cloth? Something, honey. It was in the way. I couldn't see the hem, so I just kind of like winged it. And doing a couple of back stitches so it's nice and tight. If you hear that noise, that is my toilet. It does that often. I don't know why. But there you are. It's nice and closed, and I'm going to go ahead and cut off the excess thread, making sure everything is nice and neat. And boom, there we are. Top is completed. So now we're going to move to the cardigan. Wait, I said it wrong. Cropped cardigan. We're going to move to the cropped cardigan. And I'm going to change it back to a zigzag stitch because, like I said, I don't have a serger. And on the edges of the sweater, I wanted it to be locked in because I just didn't want it to, unravel so much, because I could already tell that it was doing that when I was sewing the casing for the elastic. So I just want to make sure that it's nice and neat. Now, the one that Washington Ave had, I am not 100% sure if that's what they did because I couldn't really tell. Plus, when you do the zigzag stitch on pretty much any fabric on the edges, it does tend to wave and make like a nice little wavy look. So if you can tell on mine, it does have like a wavy look, and then with Washington Ave's, theirs was more straight, like the edges were straighter. But it's all good. It still was really cute. Like I said, I don't know if they even cleaned up their edges with sewing it down. Who knows? I couldn't really tell. Just a little side note, it is really, really good before you even start sewing to have a couple of bobbins of already pre-made so that you can just pop them in and continue sewing, because it saves so much more time. Now, depending on if you're using like different colors of thread, that's the difference. But if you're using the same color, then make sure you have like at least 2 or 3, depending on how big your project is, because it will save you a lot of time. And then I'm going to just go ahead and start again, and I'm going to back stitch and keep on going. I'm not gonna lie, this sweater was a little bit hard to get through. Just a little bit. I had to keep adjusting the edges. Really, really don't want to bore you guys with doing the rest of that. So here it is, hunty. It is finished. I am rocking this soon. Thank you all so much for watching. Go ahead and like, subscribe. Make sure you share. Do whatever you got to do to get this out there, honey, because this is fire. Alrighty, y'all. Thank you so much for watching, and see you in my next sewing tutorial. Hope you guys like, subscribe, and have a blessed day. Bye.